Speaking of that problem of the day, let's see what we got. It says, evaluate the expression x times y. Now notice that xy means x times y, my friends. We're going to subtract yz, and that's y times z, and then we're going to subtract 4 times x. And we're also going to put some variables in with some substitution of numbers. How about we put some numbers in those variables? X is -6, y is 4, and z is -5. Oh my goodness, so many negatives and so many minuses up there. Should be a lot of fun to do this problem. So let's take a look and see how we're going to work through it. As I said, an evaluation simply means we're going to replace the values for x, y, and z and see what this expression becomes. Now, I'll give you a chance to write it out at home, all right? Wherever you might be watching it, whether you're watching this online, whether you're watching this live today. Let's take it and we'll write it down here, xy, that's a y, minus yz, and we'll subtract 4x. And again, remember these xy and this yz means we multiply. That's not like sticking in a 4 and a 5 and getting 45. That doesn't work that way. It's going to be a multiplication. And speaking of which, let's do that substitution so we can get moving along here. I have x is a -6, so we'll put it right in there, and we're going to multiply it times. What's our y value? Y value is 4. And we'll deal with that in a minute. Bring on my dear Aunt Sally to help us out. The y value once again pops up one more time. It's a 4. And then we're going to multiply that times z, which looks like a -5 to me. Everybody else got that? There's your values that we're looking for, -6 for x, -5 for z, and the 4 is positive for y. And we got one more to go here. How about a -4 times that -6? So all of a sudden, this looks a little bit easier because most of y'all I like numbers, you know. We do too. I do too. Now, rules. Simple rules. How do we multiply? By the way, we multiply before we do the addition or subtraction. So we're going to look at these little my dear Aunt Sally moments. Right there is a multiplication. There's another one coming up, and there's one more. And I'm going to look at these still as being subtraction. All right, just to take care of you on that. So we have looks like a -24, because that's what happens when we multiply negative times a positive. It goes negative. And we have -24 because that's what 6 times 4 gives us. Now, on our next piece here, we're going to be subtracting, it looks like a 4 times a -5, so we're going to put a -20 there. Now notice I did that because I know a lot of students who watch at this point may be at the point where you're still writing subtraction as being subtracting a negative number, which works great, all right? You can also go ahead and multiply it negative times a negative and get a positive, but look what happens. We're going to change it into adding the opposite, which is going to give us that +20 anyway, all right? So 4 times 5 still gives us 20. And we're just basically going to say we're going to change the subtraction to an addition moment, and that's going to be like adding a +20. Now, last but not least, I've got the same story here. I've got a -4. How about it? Looks like another one of those -24s, right? We're going to say 4 times -6, and we'll put the little thing there. And again, adding the opposite, change your subtraction to an addition problem. And all of a sudden, things start to look really pretty good, because we're all about basically looking at -24. We'll go ahead and put +20, +24. And again, this step, some of you may put it in there, some of you may have gone straight to this, and that's fine. Now, notice something pretty cool about this problem. Some of you say, well, that's pretty easy. You can subtract 20 from, what is that? 24, and we get -4 because the negative is bigger. And then we got a -4 plus 24, which gives us 20. Now, also notice something right here. These two numbers are what we call inverses, additive inverses of each other. And when you put them together, they add up to 0. So sometimes you can see a quick hint. If this was an ACT problem, that would be a ding, ding, ding moment, okay, that would save you some time, and you go straight to the answer of 20. Now, if you worked it left to right, and you say, well, Ernie, I always say left to right. But when everything is addition, we can commute things, all right? And everything is plus here. Everything is an addition situation. So we can use the commutative property, as we love to do here, and pull that thing just a little bit easier. So more than one way out of it, but you've got to remember those specific rules, though. When you multiply, a negative times a negative is going to be positive, and a positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive, will give you a negative value also. And again, coming to the final answer, the idea of evaluating, let's come to the simple one final number. There you have it, 20. There's your problem of the day.